Hello and welcome back to the GG.Bet Beijing Invitational. We're done with the best of ones for today. It's only the best of threes that remain for the remainder of today. We have got Mousesports taking on forZe, probably the one that I wanted to happen the most. I think obviously forZe on form. Mousesports, the best team in the group, best team in the tournament, you would say. And we've got them here in the best of three.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were looking for when we eyed up this group earlier on. And with the way they've been playing as well, I think it's fair to say that they've both deserved to make it this far. In terms of having it necessarily the clear-cut favorite, I'm not sure if I can lean that heavily towards Mousesports, even though they were pretty convincing versus Epsilon. It's just that everybody seems to have a bit of a struggle when they play against forZe.
Yeah, it's kind of like, on paper, in the perfect world, you would say, okay, Mousesports, better team, higher ranking, they should be beating forZe. But it's online. It's forZe in the invitationals, which they seem to always go through flawlessly. There is a chance here where Mousesports perhaps don't make it up against forZe.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Again, maps is gonna come into play as terms of how big of a likelihood it is that we see forZe stealing one away. I think if they want to do it, it's gonna have to be in 3 maps, and I also can't see Mouse closing this out in 2. But if it's gonna be a 2-mapper, I do get the sense that it should be fairly close.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a close one across the board. We said that about OpTic versus forZe, and for a moment it looked like we were wrong. But then suddenly their CT side didn't look too good.
Yeah, and that is a bit of a worry as well, because if you go up against Mousesports, if they do play Mirage again, which is not out of the realm of possibilities, then you could very easily look at an equally strong T sides from OpTic, or as OpTic had just a stronger CT side, because CT side on the side of OpTic, not necessarily that it was terrible. Obviously, forZe played solidly as well on their T side, but I think there's a bigger likelihood that you can see someone on the side of Mouse kind of shift the momentum for them and actually just win a couple of extra rounds, which obviously puts you in a really bad spot if your weakness on the CT side is that prominent, as it has been in the past for forZe every now and again as well.
Yeah, we always talk about their T side being the side where they'll gather the most of the rounds, right? Yeah. And that definitely was the case of Mirage. But, we can start to look at LAN results. We can start to look how they perform on these maps now, because that was something we didn't have in the past. It was always, we look at how they do online against some of the weaker teams. But now we get to see how they do against some of the best teams in the world, and we're starting to realize that they've got a pretty deep map pool.
Absolutely. I mean, if you go back to Moscow, they absolutely smashed Na'Vi on Nuke, and Nuke has been a map that Na'Vi have actually leaned more and more towards. So that's obviously like a big scalp. They managed to get a tie versus, well, obviously they beat Avangard in their initial matchup, and they tied versus NIP, who were actually looking like a pretty decent team over in Moscow, unlike what we saw at the major. So it's pretty interesting to see how quickly forZe have kind of risen to the level that they have. And here we have the veto as well.
Yeah, flying through it as well. All the maps coming in already. We've got Inferno and Mirage, and we're just waiting for Mousesports to figure out which map we're going to go towards. I'm assuming that's Dust 2 is the only one that's left.
Yeah, and there you go. That kind of makes sense as well. We saw Mousesports happily played Dust 2, not just in the previous matchup in the best of 1 versus Epsilon, but in the past as well. Very, very strong team on it. And Mirage, forZe, home turf. Yeah. It's just comfort picks all the way through. Ending up in Inferno is pretty even keel. I will say Mousesports in the past have been looking excellent on that map.
I'm going to say they look better than forZe by quite a bit.
Yeah, so that is the bit of a... I guess that's the worrying part, but no real big surprises. I feel like Nuke was always going to go out because Mousesports know how good forZe can be on it, and there's no way forZe is playing Vertigo. So it does obviously narrow down things quite quickly, and you don't really see forZe picking into Overpass. They never do if they have a chance to avoid it. So yeah, kind of panned out in I guess the normal way.
Yeah, it's definitely the video we expect coming in from these two teams, and it felt like earlier Mousesports weren't really tested on their Dust 2, so
it really wasn't.
We didn't really get to see what they're made of and how they're feeling today. But with the way that the individuals showed up, they're certainly looking strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Kerrigan had an excellent first game. I think Rob started off super hot as well, which is always cool to see, and we know that guys like Frozen, Christian, and voxic, you don't really need to give them a lot of space for them to do a whole lot. And a map like this is always going to be there's always going to be availability for that. But again, I do think that while they didn't get tested versus Epsilon, I think they go up against a much better team now in forZe. Just on every side, if it's going to be tactical, or either if you look at it from a technical point of view or individual point of view, just having to deal with Z power, that's not going to be an easy task for voxic. And again, we've seen Jerry having a great game to start us off here today as well. And I think it's just a matter of time, as you said. We don't really know who's going to be the MVP of forZe at any given time. So for Flit, Almazer, and FaceCrack, they have the opportunity to step up as well. So I think we're in for a really, really good best-of-3 series.
It's almost like Mousesports are going to have to turn it on against forZe. They're definitely a team that will challenge them and will punish mistakes. We've seen some crazy plays from Mousesports, a couple of plays that they wouldn't make when they were playing out against an opponent they respect, you would say.
Yeah, they got into the territory of bully Counter-Strike for a moment of time there, especially when they got into the CT side. They were constantly being aggressive and kind of pushing, just shoving X Epsilon all over the map and doing whatever they wanted. That's not going to be as likely to happen in this one. And I'd be very surprised to see forZe actually allow that to happen in any case.
Yeah, well, we are just about ready to get into this game. It's a best-of-3 between Mousesports and forZe. And then we are starting it on Dust 2. What a map to start it on as well. Both teams very individually strong. But Mousesports, this is their pick. I think it's going to be a fast play towards top middle from zPower, who will take a lot of damage on board.
Yeah, and follow that up with a lot of damage onto Jerry as well. Rops goes down. No, Rops nets the first frag of the round. Now FaceCrack needs to find some connections here to stem the tide. Mousesports running out the same pistol strat actually as they did in their first match.
This is going to be Chris J. Oh, close angle. It is FaceCrack who walks away with that one. voxic able to get something done, but Carrigan will have to assist him. It's into the man advantage for Mousesports, but how long for? As Carrigan is 6 HP and zPower spots him. There's the kill. And Rops will take zPower away, exposed on top of the boxes. So 1-0 here. Mousesports find the pistol. But again, a pretty close and scrappy one. So a force buy coming in from forZe in terms of the Scout and the Deagles. A little bit of Kevlar sprinkled in as well.
Yeah, that's actually dropped Scout as well. It's Jerry. No, not Jerry. It's FaceCrack. I'm pretty sure who's just sacked all of his economy to drop that Scout for zPower. And zPower actually buying a defuse kit, so they have high hopes of actually being able to swing this around. Rob's just playing really passively, making sure nobody can actually get into lower. Doesn't hit the opportunity, though, to actually punish zPower pushing in. voxic taking significant damage over towards long as well. So forZe getting some real estate here. Now, we did see in the first map from Mousesports that very often they would just go as a very tight-knit group, having Rops being the sole player really to be on the extremities of the map. Outside of that, pretty cookie-cutter stuff on their end. But if they're too slow about it here in a round like this, where there is a Scout out and about, we know how accurate zPower can be, then it can very easily spiral out of control.
Well, these Deagles look to be explosive in towards the mid position as voxic starts to make his way through with the Mac 10. Look towards window, has the teammate close. Carrigan, he is going to be there to clean them up, and Carrigan gets 2. Jerry and FaceCrack will fall away. They do get 1 kill on the voxic, but not enough just yet, as Mousesports still stand with the advantage and the B-bomb site. And this site is difficult to retake even if you have full utility and a full buy. So coming into it with a man deficit and only 1 flash, 2 CZs and a Scout, it's not looking too likely here. So set up for a couple of exits, see what you can find, and forZe will be one of those players. Although Rob's in a position, yet again, you just never expect him to be in. He's still towards T-spawn. Did this a few times earlier. zPower still with a Scout and a kit. We'll definitely want to keep that into the next one, because every shot that he takes into the next gives those USPs and P2000s a chance to drop one of these low HP players. So zPower desperately trying to keep that. And that'll be 2-0 Mousesports.
Yeah. So they do avoid a full-on disaster. zPower manages to hold on to the defuse kit and the Scout.
So in this one, we'll be looking towards Mousesports, picking it up cleanly, making sure they limit their casualties. Chris J holds towards top middle. There we see zPower moving his way in, but he'll be forced back in towards the double doors as the rest of Mouse start to take control of long. I like this call, though. You just got to take those long range fights against the weaker buy.
Yeah.
Double smoke for the CT cross. Utility up in the air. Flashbangs, Molotovs in towards the site. voxic starts to make his approach in towards the A-bomb site. And we'll realize it's completely empty. So a bomb plant coming in from Carrigan. And forZe are going to have to try and make this happen. A couple of kills will be needed, but that's clean from forZe.
Single bullet to the dome of face crack. Z-Power not able to find his connections with the scout. So face crack, while he goes down, the rest of the force players decided to play this as stingy as possible. I mean, if you can prevent Mousesports from getting 300 extra bucks on their players, then sure, why not?
Well, it will be a win for Mousesports here, 3-0. Moving to the next one, finally we'll see a buy come in from forZe. This is where things should start to heat up. This is where we should start to see the more competitive rounds come in. Z-Power on the AWP, the rifles on the rest of the CT players. Mousesports, we'll see what they've got in their arsenal. It's going to be an AK and an op line on the floor there, so voxic will pick that up, Carrigan will go to the AK. And we'll see what they have up their sleeve. Is it going to be a very simplistic play again? Most likely, as they have got their utility going straight towards Xbox, straight towards mid door, a couple of flashbangs. And forZe is already up towards short. So very fast control here from Mousesports. If there was any aggression from forZe, probably would have been dealt with very easily with those flashes. So forZe take the right stance, and they're playing pretty passively, allowing Mousesports to have free reign of short.
Z-Power now that the Molotov fades is going to move forward. Smoke's going to prevent him from actually getting any vision, but obviously confirmation that somebody on the side of Mousesports is there.
Smoke goes on towards ramp, looking over the top of the boxes. It's going to be a flash in. Carrigan wants to try and find something, but it's Jerry that'll take him away. forZe able to trade back again. voxic moving closer to the bomb site.
Oh.
Does find Z-Power, but there's a gap in the smoke for forZe to play with. Smoke fades, face crack is gone. Looking for the second, but Almeiser will find the trade. I don't think it's enough here. You can see how paranoid Almeiser is. That a player like Rops could be anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, if you've been fooled once, right? Definitely don't want to make that mistake again of just assuming that he's going to be somewhere else. Solid 8 take once again from Mousesports. We saw this time and time again versus X Epsilon as well. If you have a good catwalk take, you can do a whole lot with it. And I think even Z-Power there was kind of caught out by how many Molotovs that were thrown out, because he extinguishes one of them, but there's still 2 more to prevent him from really moving about, getting into an active angle, and picking off Mousesports players as they move up towards the site.
So utility being picked up. Rifles are available to the CT side here, but it's not a whole lot. Obviously, the saved weapons, however.
Well, while saving weapons is one thing, what you guys can do at home is head over to GG.Bet.com, where you can predict your bet fast and easy with no queues, no business hour, and no rejections. And use the code SAVE, all capital letters, to get in on that bonus.
voxic very close to landing a shot there, but Jerry is going to go very aggressive, and Chris J is waiting for that. Decapitation coming through. Looking for the second as well. Z-Power is in behind his fallen comrade. Molotov will come in. Z-Power will be either forced back or into the open, and he takes the second option and falls back over towards long.
The coward's approach.
Yeah.
Mauser might find a nice timing here, and that's Carrigan down. Flit still needs to play for time here. Chris is just wreaking havoc on the opposite side of the map, so there's no real balance to be found for forwards just yet, even though they are picking up frags. So at least they've been able to scavenge weapons in their hands. Flit with a SG in his arsenal right now. The timing could work out pretty nicely here if Chris is not aware of this. Almeiser tucks around the corner. Chris is smartly going to wait for forZe to join up with him, though.
Slow approach again from Mousesports. They want to make sure every piece is in the right position before they make their play. As the 2 players remaining go in towards long, it's Almeiser who will drop forZe. Chris J able to get the trade back. So it's into a 1v1. Chris J looking for the quad kill, but Flit is moving slowly but closer towards the ramp. And Christian needs to be careful of this angle, and Flit has got it. There's the first for forZe. It's going to be 4-1.
It's a big one as well, considering the limited investment on the side of forZe there. Actually working off of the saved weapons from the previous round. They don't necessarily do all that much either. It's Almazr finding one frag initially on Kerrigan in mid, but it's Flit CZ that pushes them away from the V-bomb set that does a whole lot.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy they end up winning that one.
Yeah, out of all the rounds, that was the one to really get through. Almazr's going to pick up an op that's going to be dropped off for Z-Power. No, it's not. It's going to be double op setup. Okay, then. Jerry and Z-Power are the ones to don the green.
This could work.
Yeah.
I like the double up setup on Dust 2.
But this is something we don't see a whole lot from forZe.
Well, double flash, same mid-execute coming in from Mousesports. It's rinse and repeat. This time Z-Power is close up towards short, but no one has gone there just yet. Mousesports leaving short open at the minute. They might turn their attentions to it very shortly, though. No pun intended. Flash is going through the smoke. Z-Power aggressive, hits the shot on towards Christian, but it's not the kill. He's dropped to 14 HP as the push comes in towards the B-bomb site. It's going to be a B hit from Mousesports. Almazr won't take one kill back, but forZe gets two. A third coming in elsewhere from Kerrigan. Leaves Jerry and Flit in a very difficult position.
Yeah, that's pretty much an impossible one. Jerry's going to find Kerrigan, but that just opens up an avenue for him to save, really. That's all he can hope for at this stage. Mousesports taking A and B at the same time. Not
yeah,
your,
that's pretty crazy, right? That just, if you're a CT, you can't get a read on that.
Yeah. I mean, not conventional by any means, but very effective on the side of Mousesports. Very well done. The fact that Z-Power actually spots out Christian, gets the tag on him early, the fact that there's any sort of continued pressure might lead forZe actually to believe that it's going to be a full committal. They've already seen a full execute from Mousesports from short, so it's not unreasonable for them to think that way, and you can see they get kind of caught out of position over towards the B-bomb site. They have one player have to swing in through the door, which is 9 out of 10 times just the worst feeling in the world as a CT, because you're never really going to have a good grasp of where or how far the Ts are pushed in. There you have it, Mousesports 5-1. They're looking really solid here on Dust 2.
Quite tactically adept as well. You know, just 2 is not a map where you usually say that, but very well played from Mousesports there. forZe kind of caught off guard, and we'll see what they can do in this one. It is going to be the double up setup. Still with them, of course. Z-Power going for a different stance this time, peeking towards middle, and he'll be dropped to 25 HP. He's not having an easy time of it so far.
Yeah, no, he's lucky to stay alive in that one. So far, it's voxic getting the better of him. That's a big part for, well, that's the big thing for Mousesports, is to be able to ensure a lot of rounds, really, here on their T side. And if you look to Mousesports, well, now forZe's recent games on Dust 2, I mean, they played it once in Moscow. That was versus MIBR. They lost that pretty handedly, but that was also at a stage where they had qualified for they secured their spot in the finals. So how much weight you can put into that? Obviously hard to tell, especially with MIBR being a new team, but they didn't look too promising at that stage.
I feel like MIBR definitely could have done something. I think the format doesn't show us too much of that team.
Yeah.
But I think they did show some signs of life at the event.
Absolutely.
We've seen a lot of ties, though, and obviously we have a lot of teams coming that close. Got a pretty good tournament going on.
Absolutely so. forZe, though, they're going to have to overcome Mousesports in this one. And I wouldn't say that's any easier of a task than MIBR. So, new round of smokes come out from Mousesports. They've also smoked off the top box to prevent any sort of boosts happening. Still going to be face crack to find the first kill, though. Z-Power, oh, you're about to burn.
Face crack, he will take one kill, but the double comes in from forZe. Flit able to pull it back, and Jerry connects to the door. So, good stuff from forZe there towards the end of that round, and well, they find themselves another on the board.
They kind of need to. Their economy is not completely shored up. They're actually, again, going to go back to the double op setup instead of just having Jerry drop over the op from Z-Power. So yeah, this is something they're committing into. It's kind of funny as well, if you listen to the interview that Little gave with the coach of forZe before they ran into Avangar. He was talking about how they knew what they were going up against when they played Avangar on Dust 2. It's double ops, very strong, but they have something in mind for it. Didn't pan out. They got kind of slapped around versus having her in the finals. So I guess if you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
really the mentality that's going on.
I've seen this happen somewhere. Let's see how it works. It's destroyed us a couple of times.
Oh, dear. He's actually not actively going to fight for control over mid. Might be in part because CPower is posted up here in an aggressive spot. On the Fox sledge.
Oh, well, Jerry's going to be tested here in towards middle. He's going to go aggressive to try and find that first pick, but he's caught in the open after the missed shot, and Carrigan will take him away. No trade yet, but Flit eventually peeks into the open. It's only one, as forZe is able to reply immediately. So again, rinse and repeat, lose the players towards the B-bomb site, and the rest on A have to save.
Yeah, it's the half step from Jerry in towards mid there. That's just a little bit too late, which allows Carrigan to get the earlier spot on him, pretty much. Prevents him from swinging deep enough in to get the first frag. If he can get that first frag, then he's going to have backup from Flit and Window. There's a much bigger chance of forZe actually being able to do something, but Mousesports so good at actually pouncing on whatever little inch they're giving here on this map so far. And it seems like every time they go towards B, forZe is always in the middle of the pack opening things up. He's had, I think, a total of 4 opening kills towards that B bomb side. It might have actually been a 5th with that one in mid after trading out for, after finding the first kill. And that's, you don't really need more. So if you can find those kind of super crucial picks, then more or less winning out the map for your team. So big. So short-lived, I guess, happiness on the side of forZe. They're not able to string rounds together, but if it's a trend to follow, they're going to pick up this one. It's going tit for tat, back and forth.
Got to follow the pattern.
Yeah. And forZe, they desperately wish that that's going to be the case.
Well, I have got something to work with here. It's going to be a little bit weaker on the utility, but we see that Mirage. And it will be aggressive towards short here from 2 players on forZe. FizzCrack and Z-Power. They've done it a few times, but this time it finally works as Carrigan, he bites the dust, and the rest of the players from Mousesports start to approach it towards Log. It's woxic. He needed that kill, and he's collected it. He might have just spotted the player drop. I don't know if he's able to 100% realize that he's dropped inside of the CT smoke.
Yeah, I think he spotted a player up there, but then lost track of where he went. Yeah. So he's a little bit weary about him potentially have gone into Gandalf, but as you said, he did drop down into spawn, and this retake is going to be potentially a tough one. Not a whole lot of utility on the side of forZe, and now the bomb plant's going to go down. They already have a player over towards bed.
Did Christian just spot the head? He did.
Yeah, he did.
Jerry's gone. That is just so unfortunate. I like the idea behind the boost, but obviously Chris J is in a good position to spot it and deal with it, as Flit will take away woxic. It's into a 3v3 as the rest of the players on forward start to make their approach back into the bomb site, but Frozen, he'll hold it off. Another kill coming his way. And Chris J still on the site, still causing problems. It's all on Z-Power, and the AWP, it's expensive, so we want to save that on over.
Absolutely. A little bit surprised, actually, to see Flit dive that deep for the first engagement. Even though he wins it out, it definitely baits the rest of the team into thinking they have a shot at this. They lose 2 weapons for it as well. Z-Power not able to connect on the second shot. forZe actually ducks in towards double doors, and he's going to stay alive. Mousesports are so good at reading the setups of forZe right now. You could say the second Carrigan dies, he knows because of the timing how quickly they got up to that stage that it has to be an off of boost. That means long defense is more often than not going to be extremely weak, because it's very unlikely that they've gone 4 players towards the A side area. So, and even if it's a double setup over towards long with the boost up towards Cat, it's going to be without players necessarily set up to have anti-flashes for you to actually allow you to peek back into an angle. So Mousesports being so quickly to pounce on that and go out on long really just wins them out the round. They get so much map control. They pretty much get to set up their entire execute without any sort of resistance being put up.
And they know where to watch as well. You know, when they put the players there, they know there's going to be short presence, so you can fully commit knowing where you have to check. So there's going to be, as soon as you deal with that one player towards long, you know where the last 2 are. So
yeah,
really nice stuff from Mousesports. It's going to be Carrigan who takes that kill. Again, it's an opening for Mousesports this time.
Carrigan finds a ton of openings. Even though he's dying a lot, again, he usually does it after he's found one.
Yeah. He's generally you can always rely on him to get the one and done.
Yeah, and if you're a T side, you love that. Playing 4v4, for example, just opens up the map so massively. You'll take that any day.
Also, being the in-game leader, he dies and has the perspective of every teammate, so he can just sit there and orchestrate.
Nitpick on everyone.
Orchestrate the rest of the push in. I mean, I don't know how much of a micromanager Carrigan is, if he just lets his teammates do as they please and has an idea of what to do.
Yeah, it might exactly that, right? Like if there's zero communication amongst the remaining players alive, he might come and say, guys, maybe you want to try to do or like thing to do this, work towards this this goal, that kind of thing. But yeah, when you get to this kind of level of play, a lot of these players obviously are able to think on their own. And towards B we go. Jerry is forced out of the site. So it should be one smoke down, and now the job becomes that much harder for forZe. Do you have a really quick flank though here in Almazer? Oh, it's already been spotted out. Mousesports are not to be surprised here. Carrigan is definitely going to get the drop on him. Or is he? He's going to get the drop on someone else.
Oh no! He doesn't know that the second is there, so Carrigan walks away with 1 kill, or doesn't actually walk away. Does get dropped pretty much straight after that. And will be frozen right to the mid door, the double doors, taking away Z-Power. And Almazer will take away voxic. A second kill coming in as well. So ChrisJ, he has to do it all. 2 players to find the transfers there. The wild but controlled spray from ChrisJ allows 8 on the board for Mousesports. Dust2 looking solid.
Probably one of the few players you'd actually trust to spray with a Krieg.
Hit the liege, maybe?
Yeah. He handles that very nicely, and that's going to give Mousesports an 8th as well. They really seem hard to stop on this map, as it looks right now. Again, it's not necessarily a case of forZe having bad reads or doing things poorly with their initial setups. It's just they're being outplayed, but it's just the small margins going the way of Mousesports that are really doing them in, which is why it's such a dominant score so far.
Jerry is lucky to be alive. 20 HP on the cross, but it's Z-Power who will find first blood. It's on to ChrisJ at long. Z-Power's rotated off towards the mid doors, looking for the kill to Carrigan, and an orthodox missed shot, but not the second. The second will connect as voxic able to drop a face crack, and it will be a 3v4. Man advantage still here for forZe, thanks to their earlier engagement, and Z-Power is still alive. Definitely the player you want to be roaming the map.
Absolutely so. Romps might be put into action here. He moves forward. He doesn't have Frozen set up for a tower, but he does have an SG, which is terrifying enough in itself.
Romps is really a traditional lurker on this map.
Yeah, and that's a role that more or less, yeah, it got exterminated for the longest of times. But Romps really doing a good job of keeping people honest, not allowing for early rotations or cheat rotations to go by unpunished. But yeah, still that man to deal with for forZe. Not for Mousesports.
Well, Rops, his patience may pay off here as they move in towards him. Nearly the second, but it's frozen. Elsewhere, that gets a kill. He switches to the rifle and drops in towards CT. Nose flit should be low here, thanks to Robson's damage, and there it is. Frozen picks up the kill. 1v1 up against Almazer. Frozen goes back in towards the B-bomb site, and there's plenty of time to find a post plant as well here. Almazer so far away. The Frozen can really dictate what happens here.
He's not going to have any sound cues to work off as it is right now. Almazer, I think to walk in, but timing is everything here.
Yeah, Frozen's got the angle, he's got the kill. Almazer will fall. What a clutch from Frozen. Well played as Mousesports will get 9 on the board. And again, that's just Rob's been in a good position.
Exactly. It's the lurking part, right? Even though he doesn't get 2 frags out of that, he gets, well, obviously 1, and then does solid damage. So you have the last remaining player down to 14 HP. That's why Frozen drops down, because he's gotten the information that that player is definitely tagged up. Should be a pretty easy kill. You can make it into a 1v1. Yeah.
Well, there we go. And I like the fact that Robs is willing to just do that, because yes, it's pretty boring most of the time, but in the points where you have a chance to have impact, it's so impactful that it can win you rounds, and we've seen that time and time again.
Absolutely. I mean, what these guys are most like, you can have as much fun as you want running around playing deathmatch, but it's 100% more fun to actually win. All right, Flit really commits to that. He's going to get rewarded for it as well. Actually makes it out unscathed. Has picked up an AK as well. Here comes the mouse push over towards long.
Almirza holding stead with the CZ. He will get one onto Carrigan, but ChrisJ puts him to bed with a swift bullet to the cranium. That's from the Galil, which makes it worse.
Insult to injury. So man advantage is with forZe right now, but you don't really fancy their chances of doing a retake as it stands. They're going to give it their best, though. Nice little Molotov to actually trap them in on Catwalk, but might be a little bit too late. Rob's doing a solid job. The late lurk coming in here.
Oh
Only
my
has
God.
Jerry to fight. MP9 at that range.
Oh,
Not
no.
ideal. Oh, Rob's. Oh.
How is he still alive? Oh my God, that is awkward.
Ay, ay, ay.
He doesn't pull his pistol, though.
Yeah, 100%.
That is ridiculous.
That is, yeah, that should not be happening.
He wasn't even like panicking though. That was the weird part.
It was controlled until he ran out of bullets.
And then he just went, uh-oh, just sprinted backwards.
Yeah, he wasn't far enough back. Maybe he thought he was a little bit further back on long than he actually was.
Oh, that is horrible.
Yeah, because that was not a pretty position for Jerry to be in, because he's got an MP9 at that range. And obviously you're not going to do a whole lot of damage with it. And he actually runs out of bullet to the point where he needs to pick up the pistol. So I guess, yeah, that's really the big difference maker. Jerry decided to pick up his pistol. Robs did not.
Yeah. Just kept running.
Yeah.
Well,
you can tell what the damage that's been done for forZe, though, every now and again. And oof, all right, then. Jerry getting caught out. That's awkward. Oh
my God.
Okay,
Robs has had enough.
Yeah. He's like, guys, don't worry. Like, even though I kind of fluffed it, on the last one, I'm going to make up for it.
Oh my God. The Deagles. They are so strong, and Almirza eventually will drop Carrigan, but forZe has found one. It's on the Almirza 1v3, and just Deagles from Mousesports. You're about to bring up the point that their money has crumbled, but it doesn't even matter, it seems.
Yeah. Robs was like, guys, I didn't bring out the pistol in the last round because I wanted to show what I can do with a Deagle. Opening up the B bomb side, easy as you like. Jerry just really getting caught in no man's land. He was not prepared for that aggressive wide swing from Robs.
Especially, I don't know if he could see him very well because there was a Molotov down inside of the tunnels as well. So really quick shots from Robs. The second one as well. We only caught it from the perspective of the victim, but it looked fast.
Yeah, that was, I think it was 3 direct hits. Just right off the bat. Lazar is looking to hold on to that AWP to drop it off for Z-Power next round. He's going to be successful in doing so as well, but really the name of the game here is the 10 rounds that Mousesports have acquired here on the T side. This has been a really solid T side for Mousesports. Here we go. Yeah, just caught out. Like, we're watching this at obviously high shader detail and all that good jazz. I can't see anything at all if there's no if there's no outline. If there's no chance I'm seeing that person.
Yeah, that is unbelievable. And the second again,
that is just dirty.
Was really accurate. So
look at the tempo here.
Was a fast tempo in towards B, but it's halted. Instead, it's Carrigan who will pick up that first one, running through the mid doors. forZe able to back him up, but the rotate is quick, and it's through CT. Almirza finds 2. They've had enough of losing this B bomb site. They don't want to save again. They want to go for this, but Robs has got 2, and it's all on Face Crack. Deagle in hand, and as they flee the tunnels, ChrisJ will drop Face Crack. 11-3, Mousesports answer back, and it's hard to see a world in which they don't go on to 12-3 this. Well, maybe. They have got a bot. There's a chance here for forZe, but with the way Mousesports are playing, I've got to see a 12-3.
Yeah, it does feel that way. And again, it's not like forZe are completely out of this, but Mousesports are playing well enough to the point where they've deserved the dominant score.
Yeah.
It's a really weird feeling.
They've got to have a good T side here. An extremely good T side from forZe.
voxic just seems to have like magnets to the toes of Jerry, but all right. Z-Power has a magnet to the head of voxic, apparently. Well, this is much more like it. A bit of a throwaway here on the side of Mouse. Everybody dying in a rather quick succession. 11-4. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was the same scoreline as we saw in their first S2 matchup as well.
Yeah. Against X-Epsilon.
Yeah. Then again, 2 players still alive. forZe has managed to find 1, and Robs is going to join in as well. All right, does damage, but forZe left alone now. The problem is bomb is dropped, and I'm assuming Flit spotted that. Yeah.
He just confirms to us he has.
Doing a bit of a double take. He knows that forZe needs to move towards this area of the map at some point. Still, though, kind of left to his own devices. We haven't really seen any sort of rotation from forZe as a result of that, and that's because they have no idea where forZe is.
Oh, no. The reload is his death.
Yeah.
He runs right in towards Flit, an 11-4 half. And Mousesports again, very dominant on Dust 2. This time, topping the scoreboard is forZe. In behind is Rops on 12 kills, ChrisJ on 10, and 9 on Carrigan. ChrisJ, a little bit of a quieter performance, but
wasn't really required of him, right? We saw so many of these aggressive pushes, either if it's through mid or just focused on the B area in general. Whenever that happened, that was predominantly led by Carrigan and forZe. Carrigan usually being good for at least one kill, forZe for multiple follow-ups, that kind of thing. So Mousesports have just been cruising really to these 11 rounds.
Well, forZe, we talk about their prominence as a T side. We'll see if they've got it here on Dust 2. As Carrigan looks to try and hold off the A-bomb site, he sees the ensuing rush towards long that he's going to have to try and hold off. He calls for the rotations, and it's ChrisJ forZe who land 2 quick headshots. A whiplash for forZe, as Flit will take one onto Carrigan, but it's not enough. forZe again, another kill goes his way. Bomb plant attempt is there. Eventually they'll have to stick for the money. And Flit, a 1v4, not going to happen for him. Rops runs over the top of him, and it's 12-4. A convincing pistol from Mousesports, and you can see that they just look very confident.
Yeah, they really do. They have faith in their setups as well. You can see Carrigan getting tucked in around the corner. He knows he has forZe in his back. And ChrisJ from spawn as well. forZe's playing exceptionally so far this game.
Well, this is not the scoreline forZe would have wanted.
Definitely not.
Yeah, not the scoreline we really predicted as well. We knew it was a possibility for Mousesports to show up like this, but we kind of did expect to be a bit more of a fight against the likes of forZe.
Well, forZe they've been in a fair few of these rounds, absolutely, but seems like more often than not, just table turns, well, in the favor of Mousesports, but they've been playing really well, and especially just off the fact that they've had such good reads of what kind of CT setups they're running into at any given time. That makes me feel like Mousesports have definitely earned the kind of lead that they have. Now though, voxic peered around in middle for a little bit too long and gets punished eventually, but still just equalizing the numbers. Scout not being retrievable either necessarily. There we go. Dink onto forZe. He's going to have to get a little bit more passive. Flash comes in behind him as well. He's allowed to re-aggress, and that's going to net him 1 kill. But there we go. forZe with 2. The Deagles really doing work here.
Well, 5 HP on Amazer. He's the last man standing in a 1v2, and Rots will take his head off. It will be 13-4, but good damage, 3 kills, and a bomb plant. So forZe, that's job done, really.
Yeah.
And they'll move into the next one with a goodbye.
That they'll do. Undoubtedly going to see an AWP in the hands of Z-Power. Pretty much the entirety of the team is going to be fully bought up with utility.
This is where we really need to see forZe win. We can't really let them just fall again and let Mousesports go to 14, because at that point it starts to just seem unrecoverable. It's starting to get that way at the minute, but you know, if they string a good T side together and Mousesports fall flat a little bit,
yeah,
that's the only real possibility here for forZe.
We saw forZe being, I guess, victims of that on Mirage, right? Yep. Having such a good start on their first half, and then OpTic slowly but surely eking their way forward and back into it to make it a really close contest. Yeah, this is nice. Still, though, forZe being aware of the possibility. Pop flash forces voxic to actually reposition.
You touched on this on the desk, on the pre-segment, about the CT side of Mousesports just going to be much better as woxic's got 3. That is unbelievable from woxic. He's just won them the round on his own. Yeah,
that is really what it feels like.
He might just go for more here as well. Play it towards top middle. Almazer starts to come close. voxic has the angle. He'll flick up. It's a leg shot. Almazer barely stays alive.
98-2. I kind of hate the fact that the AWP and the Scout, for that matter, has damage variables in this game.
Yeah, it's definitely annoying. You would like it to just, if it connects.
Because it's like, that's not a leg shot, but it's still not enough to kill him.
It's like a thigh kill.
But it's not like a normal body shot through
a wall.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Like, where does it fit into? Like, what category does it fit into?
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah, it's just random, I guess.
It's a bit of a weird one.
Maybe it's through the wall and in the mid, like, part of the body. Maybe that is the thing.
The midsection?
Yeah. You hit him in the chest or something.
6 more damage or that kind of thing. It's weird. I mean, the Scout has the same thing. The fact that you can one-shot people with the Scout who doesn't have, well, who don't have Kevlar if you hit the right spot at the body.
Yeah. Well, nevertheless, doesn't really matter. Mousesports will take the win. 14-4. Flit will drop Rops. And that could have been scary there for Flit.
That's the big one. Being able to hold on to that off. And that's pretty much the only, I guess, ray of light that they have at this stage. Mousesports sitting at 14 rounds. They're so dominant as it stands right now. And my force doesn't really have too much money to buy up behind this. Scout on Almazar. Op has been dropped over, but not really fancying their chances here. I would imagine that. I was about to say that voxic potentially drops for one of his teammates. He's decided to buy fully up into utility and had Kevlar as well, so that's not going to be the case. We'll see what is in store for Chris J. Is sitting at 3.6 as of right now. Not been against picking up MP7s and UMPs in the past. It's going to opt for
shotguns as well. Chris J has gone towards the shotgun a couple of times.
True.
Big fan of that, actually. The shotguns have become a lot more viable because of the sort of price reduction they've had.
Yeah, but they're also less used than what they were.
Yeah, which is kind of weird.
I guess it's about, well, when the Mag 7 had its heyday, it was better than what it is in current state. So that probably has something to do with it, but yeah, I guess the one we're really seeing is the auto shotty, right?
It's great.
We're no longer seeing sawed-offs, no longer
sawed-offs
seeing
probably the
Novas. Yeah, yeah. The damage drop off on that thing is incredible.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's going to get like 2 meters away from it, just 0 damage. Robs is definitely doing more than 0 though. Oh, a whole lot more.
2 kills coming in. Chris J will do the same. 2 more kills come through his way, and Jerry's on his own. 1v4. Up against the remaining members of the Mousesports side. This will be map point if Mousesports pick this one up. And, well, it's pretty much confirmed. They will.
They will. And there's one thing to try to create tension, but reality is going to kick in, and Chris J is going to follow up the 2 first ones with a third.
That's one better. So 15-4, not exactly the scoreline I was predicting, but,
no.
You know, that's the caliber of Mousesports.
Yeah, it is fully deserved, absolutely. And force, I mean, again, not going to go away from the, I guess, the argument or the fact, really, that force still has a strong map pool. It's just Mousesports are extremely good on Dust 2.
Mirage is up next, and that's a map where I've seen in the past, personally, Mousesports sometimes be a little lackluster.
Yeah. That is Force's map pick. They probably had that in mind as well. It's a comfort pick for them, as we saw. Again, CT side is going to be pretty crucial when we get to that point, but right now Mousesports are playing fantastic CS. And it's the fact that they're snappy about their decision-making as well. There's no hesitation. They know what they're doing. They know where they have each other at any given point.
And everyone's playing well.
Yeah. It's really good to see. Obviously, for Mousesports, it would be quite the neat little bonus of being able to go to Beijing later on in the year. And we talked about how they had about as rough of a draw as you can get when it came through. It came to the major brackets and the Swiss system there. So they want to make sure they still have a presence on the tournament scene, even if they haven't necessarily secured themselves another spot at the next major.
This one's not done just yet. Another kill coming in from Jerry. 2 kills collected for him. 45 seconds, man advantage for forZe.
Yeah. Still 2 ops here, though, so plenty of opportunities for pickoffs on the side of Mousesports. The problem for Mouse begins really when forZe gets control over a bomb site. We'll see if they can actually be able to do so.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, right, is that they get the bomb site. If Mousesports can hold them off, which they're certainly looking like they will do, as voxic and Rops have got 2 kills. No chance to get into that B bomb site, but they have to try. Rops has got another. He looks back towards window, and this will be it. Just one more kill. Almazar in a 1v3 clutch and he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. voxic will take him away. 16-4 on Dust 2. Mousesports walk away with a dominant win.
Yeah, dominant is the right word for it. For the start of it, it felt like forZe, well, had a couple of rounds that could have swung their around, but I think over the course of the entire match, there's no doubt that Mousesports were way more proficient on Dust 2. And it was cool to see because it was fast. Like, they were able to switch things up, basically go from 0 to 100 in a matter of milliseconds. And again, having such a good understanding of what they were going up against at any given time just makes for enjoyable CS.
Yeah, every single individual is finding success as well on this Mousesports side. ChrisJ, we pointed, had a quieter first half because he didn't really need to do anything. Comes into the CT half and shows that he's playing well as well. So if Mousesports have every single one of their players fraggy, they are looking solid across the board at the tactical level. Is there a way forZe win Mirage? Yes, because it's a good map for them.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to a short break, and when we return, we'll have that map coming up after.